Sweet. Yeah, hey Chris, what's up? Yeah, there was the range is there, that's for sure. Morning, morning bros, morning not bros, but other stuff. How's everybody doing? Alright man, let's go do what we do. Mr. Craig, what's going on in the hood? How's everybody doing? You ready to shred? Man, yesterday was the day of days, huh? Gosh darn. You know what? We always talk about not over trading, but yesterday is probably the day like where you wanted to over trade. Mother sucker. Hey, let's take a look here. So, general market, you've been in an uptrend, 9 EMA, D-Rider, okay? Every dip is getting bought right now. That's the nature of the game. Everything looks good. You still got room up to the top of the Bollinger Band, really before you get, really before, like, you're getting, you know, before you get extended. So I think you're going to be good to go on that. You can see here, I mean, there's like so many stocks running around right now that you got to be a little bit careful, but you got to keep your eyes open. One thing like you got to make sure you do always is like start running some scans kind of like in midday, because in this market I've noticed that there are some stocks that are just like kind of like they may not be gappers necessarily, but then they run like out of nowhere. You know, we missed this Rita a couple days ago. See, it didn't show up in the gapper scan, so I didn't have an eye on it, and then it just faded off all darn day. I mean, that's a $45 move. I mean, that's pretty, that's pretty important. So you kind of run like a, a little bit of this kind of stuff when you go. You're going to get that kind of second day move on these. So let's talk about what else is going on. So the Qs look good. The SPY, really nice too. You got a nice move up the 9 EMA. Now I will say that the market conditions are showing that it is a little bit overbought. So you got to be careful when you're coming in to the market. Like if you're like adding a bunch of swing trades, like kind of right now, a little bit into the tail end of, you know, a run, you got to be careful. But we are not seeing anything in terms of short-term price action that would tell us that the market is going to roll over. But we do have to be prepared for kind of like that 1 or 2% snapback that can occur in any market. Like ideally a throwback and a retest to some support levels. I think that would be really probably the way you want to go with this. If you got that, that would be a great opportunity because first of all, like everybody's still so negative on the market, right? All you hear is like economy, Trump, you know, trade, so on and so forth. Elizabeth Warren tech stuff, Bernie Sanders tech stuff, and you miss out if this is like an unloved rally. So what'll happen is if we start to break under the 9 EMA here and you get a little bit more volatility, then you know you get all the I told you so's coming out. You get a lot of people thinking that it's time to short, but most likely you just come back and retest around here, and that'll give you a good spot to reload. I will say that this is probably the market now, like where you want to start adding some swing trades too. Like if you're a day trader, great, but the market's gapping up a lot. You want to probably add a little bit of overnight exposure to like really good like earnings breakouts, like plays like that. Let's talk about the gapper list here. There's actually a decent amount of movement in the pre-market so far. This WB is interesting. You're breaking under all three of your moving averages here and kind of like a trend line break in terms of price. I think this one may have some juice on it. The issue on this one, what's up, Anthony? How you doing? The issue on this one is going to be liquidity. Every time I've traded this thing in the past, it's got it in a Gunnar kind of spread on it. And when you get a little bit, when you start getting past like that first hour when things slow down, and then you get a spread on a stock and you're kind of trying to take it like say off the VWAP or something like that. As the market slows down and the liquidity dries up, those spreads tend to widen and they can cause you a little bit of stress. I've had it a few times in my life where it's like, you know, you buy something and the spread is too high and then, you know, it starts going down a little bit. So then you market order and you sell it on the bid. And before you know it, you're like, you buy and sell the thing a few times, you lose 30 cents, 30 cents, 30 cents. The liquidity can be a little bit tricky. It should be okay though, but just be mindful of it. I think if the Cena can stay under this 37, 38, like this thing could get smoked out. It looks like they topped EPS, but it doesn't really matter. You know, this thing is like been in a longer term range. And now if it can stay under this 38, like I think that this one has a chance. CGC smoked out. Oh, man. These pot stocks, I mean, there's like no end in sight to these things. So if CGC is going today, okay, so they had their earnings out today. It's getting smoked. You can see even, I mean, you can see like even on the kind of pre-market movers, you're starting to see some of the other pots of VFF, Cron. Man, all these things are getting smoked out. That's where you've got to really go with this thing. This could be like a whole sector smoke out today. Now, the SSR may trigger on this thing. It's at 9.5. So probably once it gets about, if it drops like 10, 15 more cents, SSR will trigger it. You won't be able to short that bad boy on the bid. So what do you got to do when the SSR is on? And you got a breakdown, though. You got to wait for a little bit of a pop, right? Just remember like SDC yesterday. SDC, some of you guys missed the $10 break. You know, I know I got quite a few emails from people in the chat room that are like, damn, it just moved so fast. I wasn't able to get in. Like, we shredded donkey cock on this thing yesterday. Is donkey cock a word? Well, I don't know. That's nice, though. We shredded this thing, but if you try to short this thing at the bid at 10, like it wouldn't work, right? Because SSR's on it, you're not going to be able to get filled. Your trade may even get rejected depending on your broker. So what you got to do is you got to layer in a little bit right before the breakout, and then the first like tick up after the breakdown, you gotta reload. You gotta sell. You gotta add more into it. So when an SSR trade is on, I may add, like, say I wanted 5,000 shares. Dude, I may do 1,000 all over the place. That way I get filled on my trade. The key is you got to watch your open orders. And then, of course, if it squeezes back the other way to the upside, you got to cancel your orders. And then, of course, stop out on whatever you have. So be careful on SSR trades. But this is a thicker stock. It's still an $8 billion company. You know, when it squeezes, it's going to squeeze like a buck or two. Use your stop losses. You'll get enough liquidity to get in and out of this thing. So if CGC is dropping, what do we want to do? We also want to watch TLRY. You know, CGC is dropping, TLRY. Add this one to the list. What else? What other pot stocks are there? Cronzilla, Cron Mama, Cromalicious. Yeah, this one's a little bit more of a grinder, but it looks pretty good. What do you have here? You've got yourself essentially like a bear flag, kind of flat bottom, breakdown. You know, you would think like, okay, like how much more lower can it go? But what you got to remember is like if you look at like a weekly chart, you know, like stuff like Cron was a buck. It was a buck in 2017. It was a buck in 2017. You know, you could reasonably see this thing at 6 pretty quickly. But we got to short these things, right? I mean, yeah. The only thing worse than the pot CBD guys are like these keto guys, right? They're like, keto's going to cure my cancer. Keto's going to cure my ADD. Keto's going to cure my erectile dysfunction. Now, like, you couple that with the little CBD, and it's like, well, you're eating butter up here, and they're rubbing CBD all over your balls, and you're just going one after another, and all of a sudden everything is cured in your life. We got to short it just for purposes of humanity, you know, for the normal people out there that, you know, still eat pizza and drink beer, you know, regular Americans. We got to short them just for that. So Cron's on the watch, TLRY's on the watch, CGC on the watch. We short these things till we're done shorting them. It looks zesty. Now on the long side, there's actually something that looks really interesting. Ping's a $1.3 billion company, 13 million share float. Man, even if that float number is wrong, I think we're going to be pretty close. I like this one. What you think? Oh, yeah. This one's looking good. This one's looking good. I haven't traded this one since the IPO day. And even that day, it really didn't trade like anything. I don't know. I don't know exactly what the spread's going to be like, what the liquidity is going to be like. Like a majority of, trades that we take. Like I've traded them all before. I've traded them all before, so I can be like, okay, there's going to be a spread or this or that. We don't have that necessarily on, this type of, we don't have that necessarily on this type of trade. So you got to be a little bit careful on this thing. Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Cool. So we're at 20. Man, the IPO's at 2120. Like this thing's got a chance. I don't know much about it, but it's got a chance. It's got a chance. Like this is going to be probably top of the list. Hopefully it moves like a little bit like D-Dog. D-Dog was really nice yesterday. It had like a couple random, it had a couple like random spikes in it yesterday, if you see over here. These are post-market. You can see here right at the open. Like this thing just dipped down for a hot sec and then took off. I think Pink can give us that kind of action again. Oh, yeah. So let's add Pink to the list. I think that, dude, this thing's hot. This thing is hot. Top play. By the way, on a secondary side of things, like we definitely want to keep D-Dog on watch today. This thing's a big time IPO breakout if it can hold. There's only a handful of IPOs that really held. The INGN or no, INMD. This thing was like a monster when it took out these IPO highs. You went from 30 to like almost 50. If D-Dog takes out these IPO highs in the next day or two, 2 days, 3 days, I think you're going to have yourself some really nice action on this. Scotty Garrett, what's up? Theo, what's up? So put this D-Dog on the watch list. So let's run this through. As a trader, you always map out your trades. Like, what can you do on this? First of all, if you like the daily chart, that just means you like the daily chart. It doesn't mean you can buy it. It doesn't show you how to buy it. None of those things come into play. If you like a stock on the daily, you still have to map out the trade. So you can see right now, you've got yourself a flat open. All right, good. So if I have a flat open, what are the possibilities that I can do on this? You have 3 patterns at the open that you can take. If it opens weak, you go red to green on it. If it opens strong, then you're going to look for an ORB. Very, very simple. If it opens strong, you're going to look for an ORB. You can use a 2-minute chart, 5-minute chart, whatever type of chart you want. ORB requires 3 sideways candles, either in a 1, 2, or 5-minute chart. You can have a couple of them up if you want, but that's it. Now, if this thing spikes up and it doesn't give you an ORB, then wait for that quick pullback buy to the MAs. All right? Those are going to be really, those are the 3 main ways you want to go at this. And keep an eye at this 42 level. You can see it got rejected by there yesterday. If you start to see this thing build, like say it starts to ORB pretty close to 42, I think you're gonna have yourself a nice shot at this. CDLX, this thing was, dude, we had this on the list yesterday. You know what? And it's a sneaky little fucker. Midday, like we teach class midday doing trade recaps. So we do a trade recap in the chat room, midday, because it's usually slow that time of day. So we're doing the trade recap, for the members, and then it started to creep up, and I'm like, fuck, I'm teaching class right now, and this thing is starting to go, and you ended up with a really nice rip on this bad boy. Dude, this thing is hot. Man, is CGC already dropping? What a little sucker. I hate when they go without us, So that is beautiful. So watch this one for a day 2. If it opens up and busts over 57, I think you're good to go. If you start to see a pattern over there. FSLY had a lot of juice yesterday. You got kind of like a bottoming pattern that's starting to develop. You got room up to 24. same type of deal though. You cannot just buy it to buy it. Don't buy to buy. What do you got to see on this? So this thing is going to open up at 2050. What are our options on this? Chris? Dave? Yeah, if it goes red to green, we take this thing. If it spikes up here and it starts to like show an ORB pattern and you take out that 22, that would trigger like a second day play. Dude, Disney had a lot of heat. Now, I typically don't like trading stocks that got like a billion, 1.6 billion share float. But if a stock has news out and it's got a lot of volume, then you can still do it. One thing, you know, a lot of times, like, especially when I started trading, you know, we were always conditioned, like low float, lower float. Even on large cap names, we always wanted lower float. But over the last 3-4 years, like there's, you know, as the algos and HFTs have really taken over the market, what's happened is the higher float stocks, they can move because there's so many algos running around. So the algos have actually helped day traders quite a bit, because this type of name 5-6 years ago, or when I started teaching boot camp class, you know, when was our first boot camp, Chris? I think I started, our first boot camp class was 2011, you know, our 60-day boot camp. We could not even touch a stock like Disney. You know, it would like, even if it had a PR out, it would move like 50 cents because the float is just so big. Now with algos just running around crazy, as soon as a stock has news out, even if the float is thick, man, they turn that juice on and it can move in a very, very clean way. Hey, Big Noodle, ORB means opening range breakout. Check on the YouTube channel, like probably like maybe last week I did a couple videos on it. It's a pretty simple pattern, but it's the best way to kind of get into a stock early at the open. And I think I got a webinar list on the YouTube somewhere too, like how to trade the open. Clarence, what's up, baby? So Disney, what do you want to do with Disney for day 2? All right, so it's opening up around here now. It's a thicker stock. Thicker stocks, you don't want to chase them higher. Like, you got to get them on pullback. Always, if the float is over $1 billion, you don't want to chase it up high. Let it dip down before you get it. Like, if you look at the price action of even Disney yesterday, if you try to chase it on strength, it doesn't work. But, like, if it, as soon as it tests, like, a moving average, you can get, like, a push. You can see, like, over here, like, if you try to kind of, like, take, like, a range break on it, that's not the play. On a play like Disney, you got to let it dip down into your MAs and then remount back over, and that's when the jets turn on. Always on a higher float name, you want to hit them on dips and then sell kind of into this bigger spikes. So now, like, watch this thing around. We had a breakout here at 146.50. If we get a little bit of a flush at the open, there's 2 things I want to look for. Number 1, does it start holding at supports? If it dips down hard, I want to look for a 1-2-3 pattern. A 1-2-3 pattern is basically either a double bottom or a flush down with the higher low. That's when you want to really kind of roll with this thing. I wouldn't be surprised to see an inside day on this. An inside day means a range inside a bigger day, because this was probably one of its bigger days it's had since I've had this business, probably, you know, like at least in terms of an intraday candle. I mean, that's for a billion share float stock, that's pretty good. Roku, you probably get this thing up to 152. I think this one only goes, though, if Disney keeps going. This is on day 4 of a move. When you're on day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4 of the move, man, that's like really tough. You know what I mean? Like, you can't even... You got to let this thing pull back. So how you want to play this thing? Say you got a stock on your watch list. It's called aligning on multiple time frames. Just because you have a stock on your watch list doesn't mean you can take the trade. You have to wait for an intraday pattern. When you're on day 4 move, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, you cannot chase strength or intraday breakouts. They don't work as well. They have a higher probability of actually failing. So when you see an intraday breakout, and a stock is overbought on stochastics, or it's on day 4, day 5, you could see like a range break or something like that set up, and it's just going to fail. What you want to do on a day 4 is, like, you need to hit them on dips, and then wait for a rebound. So say this thing pulls back to 139 at the open. All right, pulls back to 139 and it starts to hold. That's, your near support. And then it starts to hold there. You can't just buy because it hits there, but say it starts to hold there and then you pop up a little bit and then you make a higher low. So this is called 1, 2, 3 pairs. You got a 1, a 2, and a 3. Once you start to hold, now you can risk this level here and then play back into this 143. A 1, 2, 3 pattern's a little bit harder to see. When we're traders, especially when you're new, we're very conditioned into seeing like flag patterns, like very simple type of patterns. But 1, 2, 3 patterns a very, very good way to catch stocks that are coming off dips that are near support, because they're not linear. Like, you have to have multiple sequences to actually catch it. And for you to have to see multiple sequences, that means that the average person is probably not seeing it the same way you are. That's where your edge is. But that's probably my favorite way to come in and buy like a stock that's dipping down. D-Dog, we talked about this for a day 2. Watch this Netflix. This thing could keep bleeding. If it breaks under 280, we'll play this thing back down into the 260s. It seems like this Disney news just didn't get eaten up very well by Netflix. Crowd, this is one of my faves for today. What do you see here? Well, you got kind of a double bottom. So I like convergence and patterns. So what I mean by convergence and patterns is when you get multiple pieces of your patterns line up all at once, you can have power. So you have the double bottom over here. That's good. Now you started to break over your MA. So you broke over the 9 and 20. Your 9 EMA and your 20 SMA are your short and intermediate term moving averages. Your short and intermediate term moving averages are important because when they flatten up and they start to curl up, it's telling you on a short term and intermediate term time frame that the trend is changing. Yeah, you can have this layout. I'll send it to you right now. So what do you want to do with this bad boy? Well, you've got this thing moving up. And you can see here the flag pattern at 50. You got a weak open on this bad boy. You got a weak open on this bad boy. 51. Boom. If it goes red to green and takes out this 52, this thing's good to go. This is top of the watch list for STC. If we spike up at all today, I would say like 925, 950. I'm going to look for a potential reversal in terms of a green to red move, meaning a short. So I'm going to use 950 as kind of a baseline. If this thing starts to spike up at the open, you get a little bit of a short squeeze, some type of SSR squeeze. I'll start watching for the 1, 2, 3 pattern near highs and then go for the reversal back down. Does that make sense? Yeah, crowd does kind of look like, it looks like a swing trade to me, but I feel like it's a little bit high. If we were going to hit it for the swing trade, it had to be somewhere closer to the close yesterday. I hate to come in on the day 2 and try to add it if it spikes up. Yeah, that becomes a lot more tricky. I think Tesla needs to pull back. Tesla does look good, but you're a little bit overbought over here. You had a nice run from 310 to 360. This is not a small cap company, right? That's a pretty big move. $62 billion company. You had a nice kind of fade off yesterday. I think 1 or 2 more down days, we can start looking at this for potential long. WB better wait. I don't want to hear that. Oh, yeah. I think that's it, man. We don't need very much else over on this. Let's recap the gapper list. You got WB, Cena, QGen. Oh, CGC, what a slut. Man, we could have probably taken this at 17, but I hate... Pre-market trading is the worst. Like, anytime I trade pre-market... I always get smoked out. Not smoked out, but sometimes you just get stuck. Yeah, it's a little bit rough. That's the list, guys. Man, last couple weeks been hot. Yesterday was really nice, but I think we should have been a little bit more aggressive. That's on me. You know, sometimes if I rip like 3-4 grand at the open, I'm like, you get lazy. It's like, you know, like when your girlfriend comes over and she wants to like get it going and you just caught a nice beat because you've been sitting at home all day. And she's like, come on, let's get it going. And you're just like, oh, I'm already feeling relaxed because I just caught myself a nice beat and watched some TV. That's kind of how the open was yesterday. I ripped it at the open. I was feeling very relaxed. And then, you know, my girlfriend wanted to shred, but I didn't want to shred. Brad's the only one that understands what I mean. Good. These are my faves. Watch ping. Let's rank these on the day twos, okay? On the day twos, I like FSLI, D-Dog, Crowd, and SDC. Jeremy, we do both swing trades and day trades. Yeah, we got like we got a day trading service and then swing trades too. Yeah, the difference between day trading and swing trading is not really that much. You know, it happens to be more like, okay, what do you have time for? Like, what's your job situation like? That comes into play a lot. The other thing is capital. You know, like day trading, you know, you're making a lot of trades, but you're going for like smaller percentage gains. Where swing trading, you know, you're making less trades, but you're going for higher percentage gains. Does that make sense? Good, 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 good. Oh, boom, 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 boom. Yeah, we're still doing a webinar tonight on scanning. We're still doing a webinar tonight on scanning. Jeremy, no, man. This is the hottest chat room in the game, man. No free. We do free chat day about once every month or so. All right, let's do this, guys. It's 9:27. You know what time it is. It's showtime. It's go time. Let's be good. Guys, it was so hot in the chat room yesterday. Let's try to keep it up. Let's finish the week strong. I mean, we've been crushing it the last few weeks. This earnings season's been hot, but dude, I got a big day planned for us. So let's shred. And guys, if you're liking these YouTubes, make sure you give me a little thumbs up. Hey Krishna, how you doing? We trade like cryptos, everything. But stocks is the best game in town. There's nothing better than stocks, and the reason is that that every day you get like more opportunities in the stock market. Like for example, like we trade cryptos. There's like a couple things happening every day. It's not necessarily hot every day. Where the stock market, because you're like trading things that have earnings and PRs, you can have stocks that move around every single day. Like a lot of them. I think that's probably what separates the stock market from a lot of other markets. Yes, you know what? A couple people asked me that whether it's natural for your watches to get too big during this time of year. It is. Like, it definitely can be. So you just got to be careful. Like, always keep pruning your list. And then, like, what I want to do is, like, rank them. right? So when you look at this, like say you got CGC, TRY, like I'm ranking these right now. See like how I'm tiering them? So then, you know, we use a six window layouts, you know, all that kind of fun stuff. We got to tier our watch list. Then once you tier the watch list, right, start putting your charts everywhere and you're good to go. Let's do this, guys. We know what we got to do. It's showtime. It's go time. It's money time. CGC, top play. WB, number 2. TLRY, pig. Let's go do what we do, which is the do-do. It's Thursday, one day after hump day. It's money time. We got 2 days to go hit our goals. All right?